Wherever we set foot, we go back to our own home. The sentence is not just an ordinary statement. It was an emotional outburst that suddenly exploded in the midst of the uncertainty surrounding BTS's future, shook the army, invited various interpretations, and raised a big question mark. What exactly was Jungkook's intention? Why is it called palace and home? Who or what does he mean by we? The remarks were recorded in an in-depth interview conducted behind closed doors by one of South Korea's largest media networks. However, as is usually the case in a digital age that knows no boundaries, part of the interview leaked to the public and immediately became the main topic on various social platforms. The short video, which showed Jungkook's calm but meaningful expression as he uttered the phrase, has now been viewed more than 30 million times in just 24 hours. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Twitterverse are filled with snippets of images, speculation, and in-depth translations of these statements. What makes those words so jarring is the unexpected context that surrounds them. Recently, Jungkook seems to be taking some distance from the public spotlight. He reportedly spends most of his time at his luxurious home in Itaewon, which is touted as his private palace, a palace he built himself out of more than a decade of hard work in the entertainment world. But is this statement a form of metaphor, a form of satire, or just a veiled message to someone? Some observers consider this a form of personal disappointment or confusion. Others refer to it as a philosophical message about life, identity, and the importance of returning to self. But others, and this is at the center of the controversy, linked it directly to the rumored internal tensions between BTS members and HYB's management. Rumors of conflict, industry pressure, and differences in future directions began to spread. And the word palace that Jungkook uses is considered a metaphor for something much bigger: freedom, family, home, and maybe resistance. Why did he suddenly say that? Why so emotional? Why choose the word palace? And most importantly, what is really happening behind the scenes of this megastar world? In this long article, we will uncover every clue, every emotion, and every hidden meaning of Jungkook's statements that are now shaking up the K-pop industry globally. Note, this article will continue to over 9,000 words as you requested. Due to the limitation of the length of the text in one message, I will divide it into several parts. Let's move on to the first part of this in-depth article. PRTI, the invisible palace. What does Jungkook mean? Jungkook's words in the interview did sound simple on the surface, but it was precisely because of that simplicity that the meaning felt deeper, more piercing. The words glided gently from his lips, yet the tremors struck like a tidal wave. Wherever we set foot, we go back to our own palace. That sentence probably wouldn't mean much if it came from a politician, philosopher, or poet. But because it came from Jungkook, an icon of the millennial generation, a symbol of relentless hard work, the face of South Korea in the eyes of the world, it became something much bigger than a sentence. First, let's analyze the word palace. Palace is not a word commonly used by public figures, let alone K-pop idols, who are known for their careful language and calculating scripts. The palace contains the meaning of power, security, and something that was built at a great price, both materially and emotionally. When Jungkook used the word, the public immediately reacted. What is his luxury home? Is it a symbolic reference to a place where he feels safe and comfortable? Or was it a symbol of the BTS world before all that changed? Second, who is the W in that sentence? Is he talking to his fans, army who have always been his emotional home? Or is he talking to himself and the other BTS members who may now be in a vortex of dilemma and great pressure? Or is he talking to anyone who has ever felt lost in the glamour of a fake world? The statement comes as Jungkook is reportedly considering a major decision in his life. Since entering the draft, he has become much more introspective, quieter, and appears to be more aloof. An insider from his immediate environment said that Jungkook underwent some sort of transformation during that time. He ponders a lot, evaluates the past, and thinks about the future. And when he leaves the army next month, many believe Jungkook is no longer the same man he was before. Is this all a sign that Jungkook will take a different path? Will he leave the world of entertainment, or instead return with a much stronger, more honest, and more he form? PRT2. Behind a Itaewon Palace home or symbol of resistance, Jungkook's luxurious mansion in Itaewon is not just a place to live. Since its purchase in 2021, the majestic building dubbed Jungkook Palace by fans and the media has become an icon of its success. Soaring property values, architectural designs that combine traditional Korean nuances with modern minimalism, and high-level security systems make the house a symbol of privacy and achievement. But now, the house is also in the spotlight because it is considered a place where he hides. During the break in his activities, Jungkook prefers not to stay in the dorm with other BTS members. The decision had caused wild speculation. Was there an internal conflict? Does he want to really go home to himself and get away from all the pressure of the industry? He looks like he's building a fortress to protect himself, said Kim Yeonseo, an observer of Korean pop culture. In Korean culture, palace means not only a luxurious mansion, but also a place where someone claims his power. I think he wants to take over his life again, and the palace is a manifestation of his intentions. Behind his palace, which is tightly guarded and almost impenetrable by anyone other than the closest people, Jungkook actually began to show another side of himself, a side that may have been hidden for a long time, hidden behind the glitter of the stage, the sound of thousands of spectators cheering, and the camera that never stops following his steps. The silence he has created in the last few months, it now feels so rowdy. Because when Jungkook finally speaks, one short sentence from him could shatter the false calm that the K-pop industry has built so neatly. Wherever we set foot, we go back to our own palace. It was not only honest, but also moving and even frightening for some, especially those who have been hanging calm over the presence of Jungkook as a golden child, who is obedient, professional, and almost flawless. But now, he seems to be speaking as a human being, not an idol. As someone who is tired of being constantly defined by others, and finally finds that only himself can determine where he really goes home. .prt4. The striking word, home, will Jungkook leave BTS? This question haunts the heads of millions of armies around the world. And they're not wrong to question it. Because in the history of BTS, although the members often allude to home and family, the term, go home to your own palace, has never been spoken openly by anyone before. The word home in Korean culture has a very emotional connotation. It's not just about a place to stay. It's about going back to the roots, to a place that makes a person feel whole. If going home here means moving away from the world he grew up in, the world of BTS and HYB, then this could be Jungkook's most surprising confession yet. Does he want to go? Is this a good way to say goodbye? A lot of fans were crying just because of that one sentence. Comment after comment flooded social media. Jungkook, don't leave BTS. You are his heart. If you go back to your palace, what about us? Aren't we your home too? I know you're tired, but going home doesn't mean you have to leave us. This emotional response shows that for ARMY, Jungkook is not just a singer, not just a dancer or performer. It's part of their life. And when he starts showing signs of wanting to get back at himself, it feels like a real threat of losing. .prtv. The clues that have been hidden so far, freedom or despair,